Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with Tamara. On today's show, I have Patrick Hall. A lot of you may know him as Gangsta Pat. I got him on my show to speak about the music industry, about when he started, a lot of what he went through, and a lot of the things that are still happening. The reason, and another reason I decided to have him on here is because I wanted him to speak with a lot of the younger people about things that's, you know, because a lot of times a lot of the younger people, they want to jump into stuff, but they don't necessarily take time to learn the business. You know, you can be a pretty face all day, but if you don't know the business, you just a pretty face that's broke. Am I right?
That's true. That's true.
So thanks for agreeing to do this show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So how have you been?
Been okay. I can't complain.
You know what's so funny? I told my cousins that you were going to be on my show. You used to have a song that was called Shooting
on Narcs.
Yeah.
Let me explain that song. First of all, I never shot any narcotics. That wasn't really what that song was for, because what I was doing was I was just telling the story of how the drug dealer felt at the time. And like on the chorus of that song, I told it from a positive perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to that record, like when it comes to the hook, I'm telling the drug dealer, look at the position you in. You're messing your life up. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the angel and the devil on the shoulder.
Right.
You know, it ain't all about just shooting police. I would never tell anybody to just go shoot police officers.
Right.
But I have to give both perspectives, because some people out there do have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? So.
But they love this song.
Oh yeah, it was real. It captured what was going on at that time. You know, kind of like
a lot of people that was in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Definitely. A lot of people that was in that lifestyle, and they loved the song. They were good boys, you know.
Yeah.
They still love the song.
Glad to hear that.
So how old were you when you first got into the industry?
Well, when I first officially got signed to a major record label, I was like 17. So I was really underage, you know. And actually, what's the mayor, the black mayor that just got out of office?
Harrington.
Not Harrington, the one after
Warden.
Warden was actually an attorney at that time. And he actually handled that deal. And I signed a record deal with no parental presence.
He was your attorney?
No, he wasn't my attorney. He was attorney for the label, the independent label I was signing with. And they got the major deal. So it was like that independent, which was OTS. You know what I'm saying? I was signed to OTS at the time. So when we did the deal, Harrington pretty much handled, you know, paperwork on that. So I'm not trying to say that he was doing nothing bad at the time. I'm just saying that he was the attorney that witnessed that signing, and I was underage. You know what I'm saying? But I was 17.
And then he went on to be the mayor.
Went on to be the mayor. Ain't that something? Wow. You know.
I tell you.
Yeah.
So you said he was the one that handled that deal.
Yeah.
What kind of deal was it for you?
For me, actually, it was probably the worst deal I could have ever signed. And usually, an artist that young, usually our first deal is the worst deal, because we don't know. I couldn't read a contract at the time. At that time, I was young, thirsty, hungry. You know, I wanted to go ahead and get the deal done, and I didn't really think to take it to my attorney. I didn't have an attorney at the time, and let them read it. So, and I think companies know that. They put this money in your face, and they throw this contract at you, and you don't want that money to go away. You want to get that money, so you willing to sign your life away. And that's what I did. All the music that I recorded on that first album, I have no rights to it because I signed it all away.
I bet you wrote a lot of them, though, didn't you?
I wrote everything.
Wow.
Played all the music, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have no rights to it. If I want to use it, I have to get permission from Atlanta.
Permission from Atlanta to use your music that you wrote and the creative.
Yeah, I sat in my bedroom and wrote all that music, and I had to get permission from them if I want to use it. Or if somebody want to pay me to use the beat from that album, I can't give them the okay because I have to clear it through Atlanta.
Wow. So you said that when you signed that deal, you yourself didn't have an attorney. Do you think that they kind of like, that's how they were they were really able to blindside you?
That's what
with
they
a lot
did.
of things. They didn't encourage you to get an attorney.
They was like, you got to come on, sign this deal. It's not going to be available to you that long. They kind of rushed me into signing, you know. And that's just how that operates. I mean, it's that business is so cutthroat. You know, it's almost worse than the cocaine business. You know, as far as the aggressiveness to persuade people into doing things that's going to benefit them and not you. You know what I'm saying? So
we've seen the rise and fall of a lot of record companies, I guess, a lot of labels or whatever. But you know, you hear a lot of artists like such as yourself, such as like Snoop Dogg, like a whole lot of artists. You hear them talk about how they were raped because they didn't know, you know, they were children, because you all were kids at the time that didn't have a whole lot. They put a certain amount of money in front of you. You think about, oh, this is the opportunity for me to take care of myself, my mom, my sister, you know, whoever, you know, that you may love. Even back then, that was happening. Why do you think it's still repeating itself even now, even after they hear a lot of artists talk about what they went through? And it's good to have an attorney and to have people on your team that's truly for you.
Well, I mean, that system is set up for the artist to lose. You know, and people, when you got hungry, it's just like me. I was so hungry at the time to get my music out, to where I would have been willing to sign anything they put in front of me, whether I knew it was good or bad, because you want that opportunity. So nothing's changed as far as how the big labels and distributors structure these contracts. They still always gonna come out on top. And what I try to tell young artists is, never sign a contract unless they give you some front money. Because if they don't give you no front money, that may be the only chance you have of getting any money off that project. You know what I'm saying? Because
really?
Because when it comes down to royalties, whatever they spend on you, they're gonna charge that back to you. And if they spend more than what you sell, then you will end up owing them money. And the reason why royalties take so long, you know, sometimes royalties take 6 months to be paid. That's because they allow that money to sit in the bank and collect interest. They never lose money. They're not paying you with your money. They're paying you with the interest that your money is making.
Wow.
That's how they set up. You know, so that's why a lot of times royalties take a long time, because they wait on their money to draw interest, and then they spoon feed you with their money and spread it out.
Wow. So you said, like, even if you don't sell what, because see, I don't know a whole lot about the record industry. If you don't sell, you may end up a certain amount of records. You will end up owing the company. That's
what happened to TLC and a lot of groups like that, who really never get compensated like they thought they should have. You know, but I mean, because the average artist, if you sign an exclusive contract with a company, really, if you read the fine print, you probably only entitled to 7 cents per copy. Now imagine they spend $100,000, $200,000 on you for your budget, and you only making 7 cents per copy. You know how many records you gotta sell to see any money off 7 cents per copy? That's the average deal.
Like that to this day.
They still doing well. It may be a little different because records are not selling as much as they were back then. People ain't really buying music, they download. But from what I hear now is that record companies want more out of an artist, like your merchandising, your show money, personal appearance money. It's like they tapping into that. You know what I'm saying? And that's supposed to be money that's always for the artist, period. The record company shouldn't have nothing to do with that. But by the industry changing like it does, companies are figuring out more ways to rip you off. You know, so people be wanting to brag about, I'm with this record company, I'm with that. It's just a name. You know, just because you got a major deal don't mean you set up to make money the way you should off that major deal. So a lot of people got deals and they never really see any money. That's why I say don't sign unless they're gonna give you some front money, because that may be the only money you ever see.
You know, I read that a lot of the record companies, I don't know how true it is, are being strategic. Like, you see young ladies who can really sing, you see young men who can really sing, really rap. Record companies are becoming so strategic. If they have a hot artist out, if that person is making momentum, they'll hurry up and sign them and put them on the shelf. Is that, have you heard that?
But actually, from what I witnessed, sometimes a company can sign. If you get hot, a company will sign you because you may be competition to the artists that they are already trying to push. You know, every major record company, they got what they call priority artists. Artists that they are going to try to make succeed no matter what. And if you competition to that artist, yeah, they'll sign you, give you some front money, but it's only to sit you down and push you out the way. And you know, no disrespect to Cash Money Records, I got much love for them, but they did a lot of that with Lil Wayne. The reason Lil Wayne was #1 in the game because they signed everybody and shut them up, pushed them to the side. So Lil Wayne and Drake and Nicki were probably the only ones that was out there doing something at the time, so they couldn't help but to be #1 because a lot of artists they signed and you never hear from them again because they push them to the side. That's a strategy that's been happening in the industry for a while.
Right, because I heard that's a strategy that Jay-Z used faithfully.
Hey.
You know.
He signed Nas, which was somebody who was his competition. You didn't hear from Nas.
Didn't hear from him no more. Still haven't heard a whole lot.
You never know.
How cutthroat is it as far as, like, you know, off camera you and I were just talking about how we can be our own worst enemies. Like our race can be our own worst enemies. I got a little cold I'm suffering with. How cutthroat is it within, like, if you know how hungry you was when you in the game, you know. You got another artist who grew up in Tennessee. You both hot. How do they use that to play you all against each other? Like, how cutthroat can it be?
Oh my God, it can be so cutthroat. I mean, when two rappers are battling each other, it's money for those who probably ain't got nothing to do with the battle. You know, whoever got them artists signed, it's money for them. Sometimes they encourage that drama because when two are at battle, people focus on those two people. They focus on their battle and they go out and buy records. You know what I'm saying? Well, they used to buy records, but now they just go on the social media and they focus on them. And it benefits the companies more so than it does the artists. Artists can really get hurt behind beef now because people take words so serious. You know what I'm saying? And Tupac and Biggie was a prime example of that. Two artists that were murdered.
And they were friends.
They were friends. They never even took a swing at each other. But they got murdered by people who were outside of that beat. And who benefited? The two people that had both of them signed under a contract because their music is still selling today.
Wow, you feel like they were working more dead than
to the record company. We as fans, I was a Tupac and a Biggie fan. We never want to see them die.
Right.
But a record company knows that if they die, we can sell their music forever. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they die young.
Wow. Now I see what people mean about you. A lot of times you selling your life. So, you know what I mean? And when they say these record companies don't care anything about you, a lot of people, I've seen artists like have nervous breakdowns. People think that they're on drugs. Sometimes they do be, but sometimes they genuinely have nervous breakdowns and you think they're on drugs because of what they've gone through.
Yeah. And there have been cases where the record company will put somebody around them to encourage drug use.
I heard BG say that.
Yeah, they will. They will. They have people that work for that label that they put around you, and you think they're cool and they're in your corner, but they're actually there to help you destroy yourself and get sprung out so the record company can have more control over you. And once they use you up, then they keep you to the curb. Oh, he's on drugs, he's a crackhead. Yeah, but you're not telling the people that you are the one person that encouraged their use of that, and you fed them those drugs, you know. So it's cutthroat. These labels, I'm not talking about these independent labels. I'm talking about the big dogs. They probably the worstest thing for an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Especially a young artist that's coming into the game and don't know a whole lot.
Yeah.
Wow. They always say the hanger-ons are the worst ones. You know what I mean? They always talk about how the hanger-ons are the worst ones. And I was reading this artist did an interview, his mom did an interview, and she was saying that one of the worst things, I think it was Tevin Campbell, you know, from back in the day, she said one of the worst things that she could have ever did was release him and trust people to go out on the road with him, because she started out going out on the road with him. That was one of the worst things that she could have ever did.
That's true, because people may seem like they genuine and they have good intentions. They just a devil in sheep's clothing.
Wow.
If you allow these people at these companies to take your young children out without you being around, you never know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? To them, or what somebody else is doing to them. And they lavish them with gifts, buy them things. They treat them just like a woman. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? They bait them in because they so young and naive. And they can't really see past all that material stuff at the time. You know, so. I mean, look at the group B2K.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a prime example. Not only them, it goes way back to, I don't know if you remember this group called Menudo.
I do.
Some young boys, I think they were Mexican or Latin or something like that. They were abusing them young boys.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Sexually molesting them boys. And when they got to a certain age, they kicked them out the group. And they would hire more younger boys. So, I mean, some of the most biggest child molesters and stuff sit behind these desks at these big major record companies. And they search for these young boys, you know what I'm saying, just to get them, do things to them. And then once these young boys start talking, then they label them crazy, you on drugs, you retarded, so people won't buy into what they're saying. Like they trying to do Raz B now.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just the industry. I'm just thankful that I didn't get caught up in that part of it. You know
and I was going to ask you, what made you take a hiatus? Because when you were out there, you were like, you were at the top.
Yeah, I had that major record deal. I toured with Ice Cube and Too Short. You know, I was around some of the big guns, and I mean, I kept my crew around me. What I did was I went back and got my best friends. I kept them all around. They couldn't get me off by myself because I always had my best friends. You know, so I think that's probably one of the things that saved me from a lot of stuff. You know, because I'm not gonna say that, you know, certain things didn't happen to what, you know, people try you and stuff like that, but by me having my crew there, they could never get me by my and them snakes used to come to me like, hey man, you need to let them go, man. They holding you back. And to me that always seemed funny. It's like, how are they holding me back? They watching my back. They not holding me back. I'm the one writing the music and producing. They just around keeping me company. How are they holding me back? That always seems suspicious to me. You know, so that really made me like, I'm taking these brothers everywhere I go with me. You know what I'm saying? So
because they couldn't get to you and get in your head like they
get to me.
Like they wanted to.
Myself. Yeah, definitely. And plus, my father was in the industry too. You know, so he taught me a lot. He was a drummer for Isaac Hayes. He played with a lot of the Stax groups. He was one of the members of the Barcades after the original died in the plane crash. Came in and played with them for a while. So I always had him to go to. Boss, what you think about this? Well, you know, he was warning me about certain things back then. You know, so I always had somebody to talk to. You know, as far as, you know, when I got out there on the road and stuff like that. So I was just blessed. You know, I kind of escaped all of that.
Wow. Yeah. This conversation is awesome. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Patrick Hall, better known as Gangsta Pat.
Smoke some, smoke some, smoke some, smoke some, smoke some, smoke some. Light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up. Fire up, fire up, fire up, fire up. I'm in the club hanging with my thugs. We in the back blowing bud cause it's all love. We got this sack full of green out the most.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Tamara. On today's show, I have Patrick Hall here. He's better known as Gangsta Pat. He's Memphis's own. He had major hits, you know, back in the day. He's been here talking about the music industry and why he decided to take a hiatus when he did. He's been given a lot of knowledge that I think is going to be good for the younger artists, you know, that's coming up. Now, Pat, coming up in Memphis, Tennessee, you know, sometimes I think about, because I have my own business and stuff now, and I get to see a lot of things, because, you know, you start thinking about, wow, my business do this, I'm gonna help my people, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. How was it for you? Like, I know a lot of people were proud of you, but then how did they start to receive you here in your own hometown? What did you start seeing a whole lot of?
Man, it was, I'm gonna be honest, in the beginning it was rough. Because Memphis wasn't used to having a rapper that was in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? We had rappers, but they were mostly underground. You know, being the first one to get that major deal, shoot that major video, song getting on the radio in heavy rotation, you know what I'm saying? It was the good and the bad. You know, I kind of got good, you know, love from certain people, and then the hate came too, the jealousy and all that stuff right there. And that kind of, you know how it is. Bad news travel faster than good news. Hate seems like it's weighs more than love at times,
right.
you know, because I remember one time we did a show in the park. I can't remember which park it was, but I didn't even perform that day. And I came out on stage, they was just bringing me out. And somebody threw a big bottle. You know what I'm saying? It hit me, it hit the guy standing next to me, but I know it was meant for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why would you do that? I'm representing Memphis. I'm trying to keep the door down for other artists. Why would I receive that kind of welcome? But I understand now that some people just hate you because you're accomplishing your dreams and they don't have the heart to go after theirs.
Right.
They will hate you. They will take their frustration out on you because of that. So it was kind of a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? It was love and hate.
It was love and hate.
Love and hate.
And no, you know, with a lot of the younger artists that you are able to kind of see from afar or up close, you know, I don't know. Do you see a lot of that naivety still, as far as like having people around them? Because sometimes you can look at a situation and go, dog, I can't see how they can't see that person jealous.
Yeah. Well, see, young artists have to learn the difference between a team and just a crew. You know, a team is like you the artist, you got your management, you got your publicist, you got the promotional team, you know, that's a team. Everybody doing something different. But then you got the artist that's just got his crew with him. Everybody in his crew rap, and they all standing around him waiting to take his place. You know what I'm saying? When you learn the difference between that, then you will understand and you'll be able to make better judgment about who should be around you and who shouldn't. And honestly, when you start getting fame and making money, only your real friends gonna stick with you. All those people that around you and you think they friends, those are the ones who gonna start plotting against you. And you have to start weeding them people out, because if they're not helping you, if they're not doing unproductive in your camp, they just sitting around waiting. I rap too. I'm waiting on my change. You gonna put me on? Nah. You have to earn that. You know what I'm saying? And so, out of all the people I had around me, once I woke up and realized what was going on, it was maybe only one or two that stood with me. All those other people, they filled it out. They filled it out because I put them in a position where they don't either have to prove why they're around or they're gonna have to go.
Right.
And most of them, they left because they couldn't. They wasn't adding to what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So young artists have to learn the difference. Everybody that's around you kicking with you ain't your friend. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
Start weeding people out.
Now, have you seen, with you being on the road, because I was reading, I see a lot of things as far as
because when somebody else come out the projects and blow up, that same person gonna be saying the same thing about
that's
them.
the truth. That's
so
the truth.
Let them talk. You know what I'm saying? Talking ain't never paid no bill for me.
That's the truth.
So let them do it. They're gonna talk anyway.
Now, how did they try to use? Let me see. See, I'm trying not to be biased, but I gotta touch on it. How did they try to use, I guess, women, or what they call quote unquote groupies? I don't like to call women names and stuff like that, but how did they try to use that to influence you all?
You mean like the record companies use groupies?
The record companies, or even like women?
Yeah, well, you know, the system has always used women as a bait. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes companies will put a woman next to you. You know, just as a means to try to control you, hoping that you fall in love with her and fall for her. So if they controlling her and you in love with her, then subliminally they controlling you.
Right.
You know, so me, I always kind of stayed away from the groupies. My crew, they used to deal with them. But me, I kind of stayed away from them. You know what I'm saying? Because
you were the ultimate target.
Really. Yeah. Once upon a time, I was probably the primary target. You know, so. I mean, and then you look at people like Mike Tyson and Tupac, who were victims of the groupies, which they acquired rape charges and stuff like that.
Do you think they were set up?
To an extent, yeah. Because Mike Tyson was probably the greatest heavyweight champion of the world at the time. But if he got a rape charge on his record,
right,
they can always discredit him. You know what I'm saying? So just like with Muhammad Ali, the draft dodging thing. Well, he dodged. They want to discredit every black athlete that rises to the top. Even Tiger Woods, you know, now they can discredit him where he cheated on his wife and all these different strippers and porn stuff. They always want to discredit the greats. Even with Michael Jackson, where he's a child molester, you know. I don't for one believe Mike Tyson raped that girl. I don't believe Tupac raped her. I don't believe Michael Jackson was a child molester or that. So it's always a negative thing on people that's in the spotlight doing great things. And yeah, they use women. You know, they even use our own black women because they offer money and stuff like that to go out and put these guys in certain positions to tear them down. So yeah, groupies have always been, you know what I'm saying, backstage at shows and stuff like that. And it's just better off to just bring, if you want to do something on the road, bring you something with you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be messing with these chicks in these towns, man, because a lot of them already have boyfriends.
Bring their wife with them.
You know, yeah, bring your wife. Well, if you got a little girlfriend or just a little play toy, bring her with you.
Oh my goodness. So why do you think even now that, and I'm kind of getting on another subject, yet it's still the same. Why do you think now that they, well, I won't say they, but other races can, because I was talking about that on my show earlier, can still divide and conquer?
It's just, I think honestly that a lot of things that happened to African Americans back during the slavery time, like we was talking about earlier, that cycle has still never been broken. Because even I address certain issues on Facebook, you know, and every time I address an issue about blacks against blacks and how we need to come together, there's always another black person that challenges me, almost to the point to where we are arguing. So it makes me not even want to touch on this subject because I'm going to end up arguing with somebody. It almost makes me feel like blacks don't want to unite. We want to stay divided. We want to stay loving the ones that oppress us, you know, and do us wrong. I just don't understand that for the life of me. I can't figure that one out, you know, and it's frustrating to even, you know, to know that if I try to bring us together, that somebody of my own color is gonna ride against me. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we just never ever hit the reset button on our mentality, and it's a lot of cycles that we haven't broken. Like I did one post that, okay, I don't know if you ever heard of the Willie Lynch letters.
The syndrome.
Yeah, the syndrome. Okay, it was a letter that just got put together on how to break slaves, how to pit us against each other, the light skins against the dark skin, you know, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, if somebody made a letter to give us that mentality and treat us that way, why don't we create our own letter to undo that? And I got to argue with people on Facebook just because I brought that up.
They were against.
They were. So I ain't gonna say everybody. But it was enough of them to kind of make me upset about it. You know, it's like we can create our own letter and break that curse. You know what I'm saying? That people would just get with the program, but once again, it created arguments. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I end up deleting the post. You know, because I'm not on Facebook to argue with people.
Right.
You know, so I think my days of posting stuff about black women are pretty much over because it's too frustrating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a black man, I just feel like, hey, I'm just going to make sure my people's straight. I'm going to get as much as I can and teach his own. Whatever y'all other black folks do, that's on y'all. I love y'all to death, but I'm not finna argue and fight with you just to try to bring us together. If y'all don't want to come together, cool with me.
You know, I think the problem is, like you were saying, the Willie Lynch syndrome, and then a lot of blacks, a lot of the African Americans in this community, their mind hadn't been reset. Because if Memphis is 75% black, and I'm not saying put all black politicians in there, that would be crazy to say as many crooked black folks as there are. But there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get somebody that's going to be for all of the races. You know what I mean? If we know a person is going to be partial to the African Americans, it's 75% of us in this city. That means that we're not getting out and voting. You know, we a lot of times we talk the talk, but we don't like to walk the walk. What is it going to hurt to get out and take 20 minutes to vote? And then you hear a lot of people say, well, they sent me to jail. And well, I mean, I work downtown, and there are a lot of men in jail, but there's more out that can vote, you know, or women that's out that can vote for us to still be able to make a difference. So we got to stop making excuses. We got to start doing things for ourselves. Ain't nobody gonna give us nothing. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. Nobody's gonna give you nothing. You got to get out and start. You know, if we, like he just said, if we band it together, you know, and stop being like crabs in a bucket, it's so much other stuff that, you know, we could get done. Even if Pat decided he wanted to put out some more records, there's no reason why. Just in Tennessee, his records he shouldn't sell over 100,000 just here in Tennessee if we supported him. You know what I mean? Let alone other states. Here in Tennessee, he should sell over 100,000. You don't know what he might do for our community, because it's his community. If you supported him, you know what I mean.
That's true.
But we don't
That's true.
we don't do that.
We don't do that, and a lot of people don't know that. You know, we put a studio on Orange Mound.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funded by this guy named Anthony Collier, which he's deceased now. I was actually in the car with him when he got murdered.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got grazed in the head by a bullet, you know. And he put that studio there, not just for us, but so we could help anybody that wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Come be an artist and get some real quality recordings and put it out. So, in a way, you know, if it wasn't for him putting that studio there, it wouldn't be no me. Wouldn't be no 8-Ball and MJG. And it probably wouldn't be a lot of other artists. So it's like, in a way, I have played a part of trying to help people, you know what I'm saying, do things in this music industry. And sometimes, I mean, you even wish, sometimes I've thought like, I hate I even tried to help people, because people, when you try to help people, it's like sometimes it can backfire on you. You know what I'm saying? So I think you have to be very choosy about the ones you do help, honestly, because everybody's not going to appreciate that help. And when you help somebody, that person should help somebody.
Right.
It should keep going. It shouldn't stop. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what I'm gonna do about my people, man. I just wish they would just.
And I was sure to ask you that, with you being an African American man, what do you think is happening? Just being an African American man, as far as our, because we can't put everything on like the police, like we can't do that. What do you think? Where is this? What's happening with our African American boys?
Bad parenting for one. No fathers in the home. You know, no direction. They being misguided. They misguided missiles is what they are. They're young. They full of energy, and all this energy is being used in the wrong areas. We have to bring back the neighborhoods that help raise good kids. Because you remember back in the day, if you were somewhere doing something and someone else's mother seen you doing it, they could put you in check right then, and then walk you home and tell your mother, and then your mother would put you in check. That helped structures a lot of kids, and you know what I'm saying? But nowadays, if a kid says, well, I'm going to get my mama, you know, that translates to my mama finna fight your mama. And you got adults out here in the streets getting gassed up by kids. They out here fighting each other.
That's true.
Because of what they kids told them. So they're no more intelligent than the kids that they call themselves raising.
That's true.
I see it every day.
So they don't even have examples.
They don't even have examples. The only example they're giving you is off the television, which always ain't a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So it all comes down to the parents. They don't get it at home 24 hours, 24/7 when they're in their home. They're not going to get it at school. They're not going to get it in the streets. You know what I'm saying? They got to get that at home.
That's true.
So until we can fix these broken homes and get some of these parents on the right track, stop some of these parents from twerking and doing all this crazy stuff on YouTube and all that, then
and they put the babies on there twerking. They put these babies on there twerking.
They think it's cute. They think it's cute for their kids to cuss. I've seen people put babies on there smoking weed. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And when you try to say something to them about it, they get offended. So, you know, you can't even correct them on it.
Can't even say nothing to them.
You know what I'm saying? So we
got to do better. I always say that. But we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Real Talk with Tamara. On today's show, I've had the pleasure of speaking with Patrick Hall. Patrick is would you call yourself a retired rapper, or are you still rapping?
I mean, I left the game a while back. You know, man, I'm gonna be honest. I always tell the truth about my lifestyle, because I'm not ashamed of nothing. I left the rap game for the pimp game, honestly, because as opposed to waiting 3 to 6 months for a royalty check, I could make that money in You know what I'm saying? 4 to 6 weeks. Honestly. And that's the truth. But, you know, yeah, I would say I'm retired. I'm not in the rap business.
You're not in the rap business. You're not in the rap business anymore. So what would you like to say to some of these young men that have pretty much, that are trying to get into the music industry?
Well, I would just say that when a record company signs you, they not doing you no favors. You working for them. So don't look at it as, oh, I got signed, I'm about to blow up. Those days are over with. You know what I'm saying? If a company signs you, you working for them. You know, look for the term "work for hire" in your contract, because that means when they put you in the studio, all the work that you're doing, they just hiring you to do it. It could be your songs you wrote, your beats you made, but if they're work for hire terms in your contract, they own everything you do.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people don't know that. So
I can understand why people aren't getting attorneys. Like,
well, a lot of these cats don't have the money for
that's
one.
true. I heard Russell Simmons say that it's good to get an attorney, or Russell Simmons or somebody that was in his camp. You need to hire an attorney and then hire another attorney to watch that attorney, and then hire another attorney to watch both of them.
If you
That's
got the
sad.
money though, but the average young black rapper don't have the money to do all that.
Wow.
They starting out with nothing, trying to create something. They don't understand that the music business is not for people to go from homeless to heaven. You know, it's for people who got money, or you got investors. It takes money to make money in that business. You have to spend money before you see money.
Right.
I was just blessed enough to have somebody that believed in me, that was willing to invest the money. You know what I'm saying, for us to get to some more money. So that's how that works. You know.
So how was it working with people like, you said you toured with like Ice Cube and people like that, and Too Short, because I mean Too Short was hot back in the day. And you look at Ice Cube, he was hot, but it seemed like he really just blew up within the last like what 10, 15 years. Like he really blew up. He learned like the business part of it and just took straight out. So how do you feel when you see people like him that you toured with?
Proud of them. Feel good, you know, because we used to have these conversations. I learned a lot just from listening to them talk. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, Cube was still kind of upset about the NWA situation. He was still mad at Easy, you know. So I got a up close and personal, you know, drop of him really talking about that situation. But it was just a learning experience, and I'm the type of person, I listen to every word that came out their mouth, you know. And he was just trying to tell us then about auditing record labels and, you know what I'm saying, really finding out what they really owe you and all that stuff. So it was just a good learning experience, and I really realized that just because your name is out there, that doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying, you're making the kind of money people think you're making, you know, because I think, you know, now Q really just getting to big millions, and he should have been having them back then, because he was writing all the hot stuff on NWA records and stuff like that.
Oh, what? He was the one that was writing?
He was writing, like him and MC Ren were writing, you know.
And
so
Ren is like, you don't even hardly even...
Yeah, Ren should be a lot more involved than he is right now, because he was one of the key writers. Like when Cube left the group, Ren kind of held it together. He wrote the Niggas for Life album, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that. DOC wrote a lot. So
the albums that really went
big time.
Big time.
Yeah. So
and probably ain't even getting paid for it.
That's the sad part about it. But I learned a lot about doing shows. You know what I'm saying? About hiring people to build stage sets. And I watched them do all that, because Too Short used to have like this dog house, and he would rise up at the top of it. You know what I'm saying? They just had great stage shows and stuff like that. So I got to meet a lot of people that put that stuff together. So it was a learning experience.
Did you get a chance to meet Tupac?
I met Tupac, but not doing shows or nothing like that. MC Breed and Tupac cut a record together called I Gotta Get Mine, You Gotta Get Yours, you know. And Pac, when he came to Atlanta, he stayed at Breed House a lot. And everybody stayed at Breed House. Even when Too Short was getting his house built, he was at Breed House. So we all used to be at MC Breed. Even Jazzy Face stayed over there when he came to Atlanta.
Wow, yeah. And a lot of people, Jazzy Face, he is from here, right? He is from here, and a lot of people don't even know that.
Actually, Jazzy Face's father is James Alexander.
Yeah.
Was my godfather. Shout out to James. And I've been knowing Jazz ever since he was a kid, you know what I'm saying? We used to be in our Stack Studios together as kids. And great producer. I'm proud of what he's doing
He's
now.
done some very awesome stuff. You got people because I tell people all the time, I like the New Orleans bounce music, but I'm a loyal person. I have to stay loyal to. They ask me who your favorite rappers. I say anybody from Memphis.
Technology. I mean, you got people up. It's millions of videos being uploaded every day. This rapper coming out, that rapper coming out. Too much of that it's gonna be a meltdown. Everybody's rapping now. Everybody can sing. Everybody got a video. Everybody. I mean, it used to be only maybe it was a handful of people doing it back then. Now it's just millions, and the technology is making it more convenient for them to do stuff. So I don't know. I think it's just gonna be it's gonna be a meltdown pretty soon. It's just too much going on. I mean, you still gonna have. I think talented people will still always stick out more so than untalented people because, like I tell people, it's the difference between a rapper and an MC. You know what I'm saying? A rapper has to have things around him to help him look good. Half-naked women, bottles of champagne, cars. But a real MC only needs a microphone and maybe a DJ. So I think real MCs will gonna always stick out. But as far as the rappers, that's gonna get so oversaturated, so it probably don't even matter no more. And sooner or later, it's gonna have to reset.
It's gonna have to reset.
It's gonna come back to the raw talent. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't know whoever's just tuning in. He talked about earlier about how important it is to learn the business, like to learn the business parts. You're not gonna go nowhere,
And stop asking people. Learn on your own. You know what I'm saying? Because one person's story, may not, may not entwine with what you're trying to learn. I could tell you my story, but that don't mean your story gonna go that way. So read and learn on your own. Quit asking. A lot of people come and ask me and they want me to tell them all, through conversation. I'm not gonna do that. Go read. That's what I tell them. Go read and learn on your own, and then that way you can apply it how you want to apply it.
I know that's right. And learn about them points.
Yeah.
And those residuals and stuff.
It's all about digital now. I mean, physical product ain't really as strong as it used to be. It's all about digital downloads, pretty much. So learn about that.
Well, Pat, I want to thank you for coming on my show. I really appreciate
you. For having me.
I appreciate you coming. Like I said, I did have the opportunity to look at your documentary on YouTube. Like I said, I'm just becoming conscious of a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And I want to have people on that's going to, I know sometimes we can get frustrated because when we want to give people knowledge, they may not want to receive it. But at least they've heard it. At some point, maybe their brain will wake up.
Yeah, hopefully they can apply the little bit that they have heard.
But I want to thank you for coming on. In closing, is there anything that you would like to say?
Yeah, as far as my Facebook posts, I know I post a lot of crazy stuff. Some of it's just for entertainment. Some of it's real, but don't take it too serious. It's just social media. I see people getting into these fights and stuff on social media. Not that serious to me. But love life, live your life, take care of the people next to you, and everything will be alright. My closing words.
Well, you say you play instruments. Like, do you do any kind of, like, do you do anything as far as like instruments for other people?
I mean, I will if they request me, but I play guitar, drums, bass guitar, lead guitar, keyboards. My uncle passed away not too long ago, left me his trumpet, so I plan on mastering that, So, I mean, I'm always learning. I never stop learning, So just trying to learn everything I can musically.
Well, that's good.
Appreciate it.
Well, I sincerely thank you for coming through. I think that, a lot of what you said is awesome. I know my cousins love this show. They are. They love that song. I was thinking about how they used to sing that song, like they would sing it to each other. Hey man, who? And then the other one would say,
"Wow."
That's how they were. It's so funny,
Feels good to hear that.
Yeah. But I want to thank you all for tuning in to Real Talk with Tamara. Until next time, God bless us all.